Folks, hello and welcome to Gamers Health. I am Rach Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and the lovely individual with me is none other than my wife, Rachel.
Hi.
2 weeks retired from social work.
Hallelujah.
Actually, 2 weeks, 2 days, come to think of it, right? We got to be proper with that.
The real count.
So, actually, amazingly enough, what we've been doing and what I actually titled the episode as is we've been doing some, dare I say, urban hiking. And I never really thought you could go hiking in an urban area, like New York City,
urban jungle.
But I'm going to bring something up here. You have to Forst Park. If you're out here in New York City, Forst Park, it's a fairly large park. It's got its own golf course, which is huge when you look at this map. Holy crap! So,
so far we've been going over here in this kind of area.
I'm gonna move the pointer over here because they can't see you pointing at the screen.
Oh, and I can't go.
No, they're not gonna see you pointing at that. But so in any case, we've been on the side.
I like to learn about this stuff.
We've been on the side with the golf course, and there's a pathway along this or a road along the south end of the golf course that's closed to traffic. And I decided, hey, listen, we've driven by this park for years, and I haven't actually been to it in well over 20.
And I was never to it because I wasn't initially from here.
So I said, hey, let's check this out. Let's bring the dog and let's see what kind of a walk we can get. And the main roadway going through this end of the park, like I said, is closed to vehicular traffic. So we took that and we walked pretty much the length along this, length of the golf course, and then back. It was a good walk. And according to my Apple Watch, I did like at least 10, 11 minutes of actual exercise because it was ups and downs. But it's not a hike. It's not a real trail. It's a paved road.
Yes.
So,
but there's like inclines and declines.
Yeah. So what we did, and we did a little research because Rach has been interested in hiking trails in the confines of New York City for a while. But now that she's newly retired, we can actually, it isn't like you only have 2 days off and it's the weekend and everybody's going to be at the effing park, right? Now you can go on a weekday when a lot of people aren't there. Now this side of the park has a parking lot, which is nice. And right off this parking lot, there is a trail for Strack Pond. Now, I am going to point something out. This is one of those, don't do like I did. I did this trail in sandals.
We both did the first time out.
Well, both times out.
Oh, okay.
They are good sandals. Don't get me wrong. They've got good treads. They are not meant to, and they're fine for a hike along a flat trail. But this path that is here on this screen, I'm on the wrong side of the screen. I'll circle it here. This path down here, barely you can see it in red, goes around this pond. Well, here's the issues. First off, you have to walk down. Initially, it's a paved path, and then it turns into
like a dirt path.
Dirt, mud, some wooden slats to
get you out of the mud because it's very badly muddy.
But
and it's a pond that has like some serious algae that can be dangerous for people.
So you're not going to go wading in it. And I wouldn't advise going fishing in it. So that was our first excursion as, hey, we're doing a hiking path. So then, in our infinite wisdom, we said, hey, according to this map, there's a dog run in this south area, in the middle of the south area. So we'll check out the dog run. And to do that, there's a path it's a paved path that goes down to the tennis courts. And then we started going to where we thought the dog run was. It was all fenced off and looked like a mess. So we went, maybe, and we didn't have the map in front of us. We'll go left. And we went by the tennis courts. Looked very nice. They were usable, unlike the courts at Juniper Valley Park, which were flooded from the rainstorm. Neither here nor there, but
we don't really do tennis. I mean, it's fine to watch on TV in the pub, but
yeah, I have
not play.
I haven't played tennis in nearly 30 years, and that was only because I was forced to take it in college.
Really?
That was the I think it was Intro to Tennis 101 was my gym requirement that fulfilled my gym requirement. And my whole thing was you started out, I think, with 10 tennis balls, and by the end of the second day, I was down to 2 because I kept hitting them over the fence down to Horse Harding Expressway in the LAE. Mm-hmm. So, it was not a...
I never played.
Probably best. So
I mean, when you had it in school, and it's just like, you know what, this is really boring. I'm going to go and smoke a cigarette.
So we went and we explored the tennis courts, and then we saw people coming down the path from above us, I guess, to the north, and we were like, well, hey, let's cut back up that, which was fine and dandy, except for the fact that it wasn't a real path, and as such, it was pretty steep and pretty gravelly. This is after the rainstorm. This is after the remains of the hurricane.
It's irregular ground, like most of the trails, like they're off like the paved path.
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. It was a real hike.
Quite a hike.
So the dog loved it.
Dog jumping in mud.
Oh my God, she thought the mud was the best thing ever. She was like, and here's the thing. We have other parks we can take her to that have, trees and grass and all that stuff. And she enjoys it. But her times to Forst Park, she gets this prance going to her. She is so excited and so happy. And the day that we did the pond and went around the pond, she came back with burrs that I thought she got a huge tumor on her chest initially. Like, what the hell?
Where did this tumor come from?
It was so big.
I know, I was hearing her like, and like, is that the mints in Eric's pocket? That's not the mints.
No,
that's something else. Like, it was the dog with a amount of burrs about that big.
Yeah. But here's the thing. She was having such a great time. She allowed us to hold her on her back and have Doggy Daddy
smiling.
Doggy Daddy remove them.
And
I'm pulling against her. And she's like, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's worth the discomfort for the enjoyment that she was having. And it was great for both of us. We were getting not just calories burned, but we were getting exercise minutes in. And this is important. If you're trying to be healthy, if you're trying to get your heart rate up, all these things that you're supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. Burn calories. The hardest thing to do is to do it in a monotonous way. To do it, it's like, I'm going to walk around the neighborhood, but oh, God. I've seen this damn block 9 billion times. I don't want to see it again. Parks are different, right? Parks are interactive. The dog bumping it, you bump into people, even on the unofficial
even path. On the path, like the little more isolated stuff. Mm-hmm. There are people that will come by, and the dog just like, oh my God, hi.
So here's the thing. So this side of the park is fairly big, but the other side of the park is a little
massive.
It's massive, and
it's at least double the size.
And it doesn't have a golf course in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it's full of paths. It's full of hiking trails. We are going to explore this probably in full after the holiday weekend. So maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Mm-hmm. We will probably tomorrow do a drive-by on the original side of the park that we've been checking out. For this dog run that we didn't find, we'll drive past it where it's supposed to be, see if it's there, and then we will set ourselves up for a nice walk along the normal path areas, that normal road. It still gives us good calorie burn,
Mhm.
good exercise minutes. But next week we're going to start exploring these now here's the thing with these hiking trails.
The foresty
I-
part of the
I-
Forst Park.
I might have to give up wearing my sandals. I might have to actually wear shoes.
Yeah, we might have to get you some special hiking boots.
I don't know. They
Not
better be
boots, but like,
hiking shoes. They better be light shoes, okay? Because let's
yeah, that's what they make him as now.
Oh, all
I
right.
think.
I don't know. We're gonna find
I
out.
don't know.
We'll have to find out. And
We'll look online.
yeah, we'll look
see
on
what they
we'll
have
look on the Amazon
on the Amazon.
because the Amazon is where this stuff is. You know. So, in any case, we'll probably have more of an update upon this next week, and next week is also going to be 9/11, and that means from a mental health perspective, for myself. Here, I'm going to close this. For a mental health perspective, for myself, I worked on 9/11. I responded on 9/11. Got to City Hall Park. I thought I was going to be dead. I thought my life was over. It was going to be counted in minutes at best, and I was okay with that. So there's a perspective that changes, and I've learned this since I diagnosed with cancer and congestive heart failure. When you think that your death is not minutes away, but can be counted in, whatever, weeks, months, years. I don't have the issue with imminent death if I have a greater goal, right? My goal was I got to save lives. I got to do what I got to do. If I'm going to die, it's God's will, and so be it. But when you get diagnosed with cancer and you are told, it could be 6 months, that's something different. It isn't the ability to turn off your flight and fight aspect in you isn't there. I mean, it became, oh, I could be dead in 6 months, and that was paralyzing initially. So, it really is a strange juxtaposition. Joe, welcome. Appreciate seeing you. The Great Hook Grognard is in the room. And Joe, you live in Jersey, so 9/11 was something that affected you. If you were on the West Coast, 9/11 was something that you saw on TV.
Yeah, it didn't hit the same.
Right. If you were on the East Coast, 9/11 struck at home, especially if you're on the
Northeast,
the New York metro
Central,
area,
the
DC area, Pennsylvania, where the flight went down. It became more real. Now, I mean, my God, 20 years ago, my son was 8 years old, and I still remember the days after 9/11, he drew me a drawing of a skyscraper with lasers and a force shield on it to keep planes from crashing into it at 8. Because that was to cheer me up because of the shit that I was going through. And it was bizarrely, it was uplifting, and it made it even more real. I mean, I don't know how much realer it could get than the crap I was going through. Joe, you could see the smoke from where you worked. I saw that.
Yeah, us too.
I saw that smoke probably for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months afterwards. It was still smoking. I would travel home from the South Bronx from work, and I would go over to Triborough Bridge, and you would just see that on the horizon. And even if you didn't spend your day down at the pit, as we were calling it, or ground zero, it still affected you. You still saw it. I mean,
it was, I think, part of most people's daily life here.
Zachary came back hiking in mountains. Well, that's a real hike, right?
Oh,
Listen, I'm not.
We're not there.
Well, this. Listen, if you can get anything that resembles a hike in an urban environment, you're pretty good. I mean, prior to us finding this, I not really. I mean, our other local parks are all pretty flat. They don't really have all that going on. But Joe, my sister-in-law, worked around there. On that particular day, she missed her train from Brooklyn. Otherwise, she would have
God
been a
bless
couple of
her.
blocks away. Listen, I know a number of stories
Yeah.
similar to that. I have a friend that's in this community, old school gaming community, who doesn't live in New York, but he had an interview that day in one of the two towers.
Oh, wow.
And he was sick and had to cancel his flight.
Mm.
And he didn't come in for his interview. And he would have been there. Now, I had 4 friends that worked in the towers. 3 of them got out. They all walked from Lower Manhattan to Queens to, I think in each case, hit a mother's home. In the case of 2 of them was Jackson Heights. One was Elmhurst by me. But we lost one friend, Paul Benedetti, who is my only friend that was there for the first bombing of the towers. Paul, God bless him, he worked for Aon. He, I believe, was the only fatality that Aon had. He was a manager, and what he did is he cleared out the office, called his wife, and this was on Fox News because my father, God bless him, called me when I think I was actually working at Ground Zero at the time, a few days after the fact, after 9/11, and he called me on my phone, and he's like, Paul's wife is on TV. I go, what are you talking about? They're playing the answer scene match. He said he left. And it's like, hey, hon, listen, it's that kind of day at work. A plane crashed into the building. I'm going to be leaving soon. Can you do me a favor? Can you have my can you pour me a scotch so when I come home it's ready for me? She poured the scotch. He never got home because he made sure everybody was out. Everybody was so. I mean, you just, honest to God, you just never know. Just for the grace of God. Joe, there's another town around here by him in New Jersey that doesn't have a memorial to some victims of the impact in the area around New York City that other places can't internalize. Definitely. I mean, New York City, if you live in Northeast PA, if you live in the northern half of New Jersey, if you live in
Southern Connecticut,
if you live in, I don't know, Westchester, Nassau, I mean, anywhere on Long Island, but the southern part of New York State, good chance that you live in New York City. And if you work in New York City, and if you worked in New York City, it's a good chance that you were around the World Financial Center. You were around the World Trade Center. I mean, the impact on, and if you didn't directly, you had a neighbor or a family member that did. I mean, the cost in lives was scary as hell. And I still remember, I guess, the most telling moment for me, I think this was maybe 2 weeks after 9/11. We were doing site security, me and a few others from my precinct, the 401 precinct. And we were down doing site security. And we had site security with National Guardsmen from upstate New York. And their sergeant came up to me and was like, I need to talk to you and your fellow officers. I go, what's up? Well, we all have this post together. We had the entrance. We had a gated area where you had to, inspect trucks coming in, inspect ID for people coming in. And they're like, listen, just so you know, we are here. We are a lethal force. And I go, I understand that. He goes, but something else you need to understand. I go, what's that? He goes, we have rifles. He goes, we have no ammunition. Like, what? He goes, we have no ammunition. So if somebody tries to come in through this entrance and tries to commit a deed, um, me and my men will lay our lives down, but
They don't have the firepower.
we don't have actually firearms.
These are for show.
We have bayonets that we can attach. We have knives. We will use our fists.
Mm-hmm.
We will batter somebody to death, but we don't have loaded weapons. We can't even load them. We were not issued any live ammunition. And literally an hour later.
And was that meant?
Yes, that was meant.
Okay.
An hour later or so, FDNY comes through, and you're supposed to be showing your ID, and FDNY is literally grieving. They lost 343 members of their service, and they were telling the National Guard to basically go F off, and we had to calm everything down. We have ways to identify FD without having their ID. There's just ways that we can get around that. And we did, and then we had to tell FD, listen, just put the word going that when you're coming through this gate, find an officer to escort you all through. It was a bad, stressful time. Mm-hmm. And in retrospect, my precinct was lucky. We had the staffing where we were allowed to take off 1 day a week and only work 14 to 16 hours a day. There were some commands that were doing 16 to 20 hours a day, no days off for that first month. Mm. So you take the blessings that you can get, and I guess we had a blessing. Mm. Zachary, one of the victims, graduated from my high school. She was on one of the planes.
Oh, my God.
I mean, that's just...
Yeah.
I mean, as an officer, when I was active, we literally called events like that. Those bizarre events, like things that you could never plan for. The unlucky lottery. It's like your odds of being the victim of a terrorist attack via an airplane was probably less common than winning the lotto in New York State. Mm. And sadly, the unlucky lottery came up that day and came up in spades. It was really a rough day. It was rough weeks. It was rough times. Yeah, I mean, and I still remember when the first building came down, Building 2, and all the crap in the air, which literally looked like gray snow blizzard coming at you, and it was rolling like thunder. I pulled my T-shirt up to filter it out, and it turned gray like instantly. But needless to say, I didn't leave my T-shirt up the rest of my, that's 12, 13 hours I was down there. Because you couldn't, and there was no mask. Yeah, there was nothing. We were told the air was safe to breathe. So,
as per Christy Whitman.
Yes. So, Clover, why no ammo? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why there was no ammo, and that went for much longer than that. Here's an open secret.
The ones in like Grand Central Station and Penn Station, where they have an ammo?
I don't know, but I know in the months, maybe for a year or longer after that, it actually was longer, they had National Guard assigned to our bridges and tunnels. So the MTA bridges and tunnels, like the Triborough Bridge, the Midtown Tunnel, these places all had National Guard, which were pulling over every truck. Okay? Every box truck, every 18-wheeler got stopped. They had empty firearms for the longest time. I don't know when they got ammunition or issued ammunition, but usually they were doing that job, and then they had MTA enforcement officers on the scene in case you needed somebody with a firearm. Why? I'm gonna make an assumption here, and I could be wrong, but the idea is your law enforcement officers are trained to deal with the public. Your military, National Guard or otherwise, are trained to engage the enemy. There's a difference. Now, if you have National Guard that are trained for civil disturbance, they might have training that tells them how to deal with Joe Citizen, right? Where you don't see everybody as the enemy. But who is, again, it's an assumption I'm making here. It doesn't mean I'm right. And I'm trying to think like our leadership probably thought at the time. Who is likely to be more trigger happy? A law enforcement officer who deals with the public on a daily basis, right? Or a military soldier who is trained to engage the enemy and stop that threat when it comes up. Zachary, you have each year on 9/11, you have a memorial in her honor. Listen,
nice.
And my parents have a place in the Poconos, in the town of Hawley, which is northeastern PA. And they have a 9/11 memorial every year because a lot of the residents in the area now are retired NYPD, Port Authority, NYFD. But that night, to tell me, I mean, when you have an incident like this, there are certain things that renew your faith in mankind, right? And I still recall I was driving the van with 8 and 1. That means there were 8 cops, 1 sergeant. I'm driving the van, and we're driving down into Manhattan, coming from South Bronx, and we went down the FDR. Until the FDR got backed up, and then I was taking the avenues. I was driving over sidewalks. I was doing whatever I could to get down, and we got down to Houston Street. And we get down to Houston Street, and directing traffic are 2 gentlemen. One was a homeless man with his shopping cart pushed slightly to the side. Totally homeless. I mean, he was dirty, disheveled, his clothing was ripped. And with him was a businessman who put his briefcase in the homeless man's shopping cart. And the 2 of them were directing traffic to get emergency services like us downtown. My response, I turned to my sergeant, Michelle, was, holy shit, we're in for hell. Because literally the city was, and actually before the buildings came down, the city was pulling together. And I hate to say it, but it's events like that you kind of almost need to renew your faith in mankind.
Or like your city, or
in your city,
what it means to be from somewhere.
Joe, I still watch the recordings of the coverage on every anniversary. My wife hates it because it makes me incredibly depressed and angry. I refuse to forget. I also refuse to forget.
Oh,
this year, and I listen. I used to always first. I would always take that day off from work. A few times I didn't take it off, but I was taking it off for a number of years, and I would get up to. My phone's going to go crazy Saturday morning with all the people that I worked with that day texting me, and just thanking God that we're all still alive.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's rough. Again, I told you, I have friends. The friends that I have that came through this, it's my old gaming group. Okay? 4 out of 5 of the members of my regular gaming group worked in the World Trade Center. So the surviving members, the other 4 plus myself, 5, we're going to get together at my local pub on Saturday and have a few drinks in memory of Paul. But we're also going to be having a few drinks in the memory of 2 of my friends' father. Their father was a chief in the FD.
Okay.
Captain Jack. Captain Jack got cancer from 9/11. I also got cancer from 9/11. Thankfully, I got through it. In the long run, I also got congestive heart failure from 9/11. But we'll not go into that. But yeah, it really. Oh yes, you're from New York City when you pronounce Houston Street correctly. It's not Houston; it's Houston. I used to work near Houston Street, and yeah. You get some. I do remember some tourists going, "Could you tell me which way to Houston Street?" I'm like,
Well, Houston.
I know, no. I'm
Is.
sorry. I was always the dick that would go. I think you're in the wrong state for Houston Street. No,
for Houston.
Oh, Houston Street.
Yeah.
Sorry. Now I'm being the ass. I'm being the ass. But it was, it defined New York City.
Mm-hmm.
The people coming that night, the post that we had was, again, we had perimeter security because it was a hodgepodge of what to do with people that day. And we would have corrections department from New Jersey just driving up and where are we needed. Okay. And then these 3 black SUVs pull up. I mean, shiny black. This is big ass black SUVs. These weren't. I'm like,
where were they from?
I was like, yeah, can I help you? And I see a shield, a badge for those that call them badges that I didn't recognize. And I'm like looking at it, and then I see the ID, Chicago PD.
Oh.
I'm like, you're a long way away from home. They're like, yeah. It goes, listen, when the second plane hit, it was their equivalent of their emergency service unit. It goes, when the second plane hit, we left. I go, really? He goes, yeah. We didn't get authorization till we were halfway through Ohio.
Wow.
So they went on their own, and the job itself didn't authorize it until hours later. But God bless them. This is when the country comes together. Oh, see, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. It's Bernardsville.
Bernardsville. Okay.
Bernardsville or Bernardsville.
Bernardsville.
We're from New York, so I don't know if we're not from northern New Jersey. We live in a yes. How
does he say it goes?
I don't know. I can't
put it phonetic in
no,
there?
I don't have a phonetic spelling from Joe just yet. Do we live in a concert jungle? No, well, depends on the day with my neighbors. We do live in I guess
sometimes it's a Pentecostal concert.
It could be.
Other times it's a Filipino one.
Yes. With but no, we do live in a concrete jungle. But as we pulled up earlier, you can go hiking in New York City. It's surprisingly enough, at least for us. This is about, I don't know, 15 minutes from my house by car. Not a bad drive at all, and some good food carts along the way back. So. You remember when the Boston fans cheered when the Yankees came on the fan? Yes, on the field. There's a lot of striking things about this. The country truly came together like I've never seen prior and never seen after in my lifetime. There were no politics. There were no social issues. There were no
people weren't so split as they are now.
It wasn't like, your social class tells you that everybody came together. You know what? The only people that we were mad at were a handful of effing reporters. There was this one reporter from Channel 4. She tried to sneak past our post 3 times. The third time, she grabbed a stethoscope. I can't even pronounce it right. A stethoscope.
We know what you mean.
A stethoscope and a lab coat that she must have found.
Oh my God.
And she tries walking through, and one of the officers I was with, Randy, I didn't recognize. She went, wait a second, we already threw you out twice. And God bless her, Randy was like, by all rights, I should arrest you right now. If I see you again, I will arrest you right now. I'm just trying to do my job. No, you're not.
Impersonating people from noble professions.
Oh, no, it's pronounced Bernardsville.
Bernardsville.
Is that where all the nerds live? I gotta ask. But yeah, listen, New Yorkers, I'll be the first to admit that we don't speak the King's English. We don't even speak the President's English.
Oh, we try our best.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. We
No.
make sure people know
Yeah.
this is how we speak.
You know, the thing
Who
with
like it or not.
the thing with New York City is, and especially New York City, maybe New Yorkers in general, but definitely the metropolitan area, is everything's in a rush. Everything is moving fast. So if any word is longer than 2 or 3 syllables, you tend to shorten it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've probably both been asked when we've been somewhere else in the country and we say something and they'll be like, "Are you speaking in English?"
Yes.
I'm like, "Yeah,
I thought so. You've got that New York dialect. I'm sorry.
Because you sometimes leave off certain
syllables.
Parts,
Yeah, you shorten words as a New Yorker. It is part and parcel. It's what we do, especially when things get too damn long. But yeah, I didn't expect to go off on a 9/11 tangent, but you know what? That's going to be a lot of my mental health. It's certainly my physical health is dependent on what happened. When I went through, I was telling Rachel earlier, reminding her, when I went through my cancer treatment about 15 years ago, and I had done the chemo and then the radiation. It was going to be 22 sessions of radiation. That came up, and the question became: is the radiation worth it to ensure the cancer doesn't come back? And my theory at the time was best to punt the ball down the line 10 or 15 years and hope that the medicine has caught up and deal with it then. So, of course, here we go. 14, 15 years later,
the consequences are
rolling up with congestive heart failure and apparently a heart attack due to the damage from the radiation. But if I hadn't gotten that, would the cancer have come back? It's quite possible.
Yeah.
Later, Joe. Here closer in Alabama, they make all their words twice as long.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what? Because you're at a slower pace, you can afford to. And you want to enjoy that conversation. New Yorkers, honest to God, most conversations, especially if you're at the pub, at the bar, it's different. But if it's a work related, or if you're asking for directions or receiving directions, you want it prompt, you want it quick. You don't want to hear, well, if you want to get to the nearest gas station, you make 2 rights behind you. And then you take a left at the,
But don't go left over here.
Yeah, don't make the left there. Make the left that you can't see. After that left, you're going to see a dead tree that used to be there, but now it's just a stump. No, a New Yorker will probably kill you for that. Do I get directions like that in the Poconos? Yes. You will. You'll get Poconos a lot. If you ask for directions in the Poconos, it's a lot more of that level because it's a different pace. And, again, New Yorkers just don't have the ability to have that pace. Clover, have not been to Alabama, but again, I've been out of the city, and I've been listen. When I used to spend my summers up in the Poconos as a preteen and a teen, the kids in the neighborhood would come, knocking on the door. Can Eric come out and play?
Eric.
Can Eric come out and play? And my family got a new living room suite. I'm like, what's a living room suite? Living room suite. So you don't have to go far out of New York City to have a vernacular.
I guess dialectical differences.
And the Poconos has their own dialects, their own words for things. They have hoagies. I didn't know what a hoagie was.
Yeah, that's I guess all of Pennsylvania.
No, it's definitely. I don't know if it's all of PA. I gotta ask Tim Schwartz one day how it is in that Western PA. But a lot of these stuff, I'm sure that
we should call them in Connecticut grinder.
New York City, the heroes, right? That's just how we've always called.
Yeah, when we first moved there, we were so confused. I'm like, oh yeah, well, let's go have some grinders, and because a lot of them had farther north accents, like, because a lot of things were more centered around Boston. So
right. Oh,
yeah,
sound,
Rhode Island or whatever.
Sounds sexual, but
yeah, it does kind of.
Need to get
like grinder.
I need to get my grinder.
They're like, those sandwiches that come in those long rolls.
Oh, you mean like a hero?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Or a hoagie. Now, like Pennsylvania, you got a hoagie when I was a kid. By default, it had oil and vinegar on it.
Oh, really?
By default. I liked it, but, and
then when you went to Connecticut, this was hard to get used to. The American cheese is white.
Gave my son a conniption,
and I had forgotten about it because I was 11 when when my family moved us there.
Sorry,
and so,
just so folks understand, in New York City, American cheese is yellow.
In Long Island, it's yellow. Yeah. They don't really show you any of that white American cheese. It's all like. I guess like the Land O'Lakes or, the Boar's Head, whatever. And it's all yellow. It's all got that food coloring in it.
But it's actually natural coloring. But,
is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
But in any case.
I didn't know.
Yeah. But yes. I don't think I've ever had a sandwich in PA with American cheese on it. I don't even recall.
I don't know what they do there.
We'll have to find out one day, I guess. But regional differences are something that you have to learn. If God forbid, you move to a new place in the country, you should. Especially with the internet now.
Yeah, my brother was like, Chris, he refused to eat that cheese. He was like, I'm not eating that shit.
It's gonna taste different.
Yeah, Chris and Johnny.
Yeah, but if you're gonna be in a different area of the country, a little Google searching to find. Every area of the country has different customs. I still remember as a kid, teenager,
and different delicacies.
We were driving up to Newfoundland, up in Canada. My aunt and uncle and my cousin lived up there, and it was a big trip. And we're driving up there, and we got to Maine, and decided to stop at McDonald's. And my parents had me order the food, and I ordered the food. And I'm waiting. And the cashier's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just waiting for my food. And she nodded and she goes, you're from New York, aren't you? I went, yeah. She's like, we'll bring the food to you. I go, how will you?
Just what we do here.
I go, how will you know it's me? She's like, trust me. We'll know it's you. I don't know if I should.
You loud, obnoxious New Yorkers. We hear you everywhere.
Yeah, we know New Yorkers when we see them. Zachary, we have both yellow and white American cheese. If I go to Stop and Shop, if I go to a deli, I can order.
I'm sure you'll get it.
White or yellow, but the default.
Yeah.
The default is yellow.
Yeah.
In New York City, if you go to a deli and say, "Hey, I want a ham and cheese," what kind of cheese? American. You're getting yellow. You're not getting white, just the default. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We got to find out in Texas. We got to go like a local deli and find out next time I go down to Dallas.
Yeah, scope out their cheese.
Scope out your cheese. What kind of cheese do you give? Oh, God. But today, in addition to the walk of the dog, which we didn't do at Forst Park, we did at another local park, Juniper Valley, and it's another park that has two sides. It has a small, quiet side that's heavily wooded for the size it is, and then you have
a tree line.
Yeah, and then you have a larger other side that has ballparks and track, soccer fields, multiple playgrounds, and we hung out on the small side and did a couple of laps around it. The dog was having a blast meeting people. I really think that's what she really enjoys. Mm-hmm. Well, except for the hikes, she enjoyed the mud, the burrs, getting off the asphalt. Yeah, she really enjoyed that. But I did a little with my friend Zach from Frog God. We did a little virtual reality, whatchamacallit, racquetball. And holy crap, that's a workout. That got me a little damp and got me some calorie
Nice.
burn. So I really think that you got to keep exercise not feeling like exercise. Sure, some of it can be repetitious. It can be weightlifting. It can be stationary bikes or treadmills. But some of it, you got to throw in something that adds a distraction factor to it. So I have what do you call it? The thing for the legs, the gym,
The oh my god, bionic gym.
the bionic gym, which is something that kind of induces a shiver factor to your legs. We can give it a try as the weather gets a little bit cooler, or maybe sooner than that. But I'm gonna give it a try to see if this can replicate stuff that because you can distract yourself when you're using this by watching TV. I don't think I could actually do a YouTube video. That would be a bit awkward as I vibrate my way to. My legs are stimulated. And maybe that's not too good. Clover, I think all doggies go for the mud first. Yeah, Doc.
Yeah.
What we actually haven't done yet with Doc is we haven't taken her to the lake up in PA. Her predecessor used to enjoy going to the lake and chasing ducks. So she hasn't gone swimming yet, so we have to see how that's going to work for her. Something like I have to throw into the
next summer.
Next summer, yeah, true. The water's gonna be getting cold.
Yeah,
we have
because I get cold at night up there.
We have in 2 weeks we have ShireCon, so if you're going to be at ShireCon, we will be there, and then in October. End of October, right? We have Game Hall Con. Now, I don't know for sure a Game Hall is going to go off as Game Hall goes off. We'll see. So ShireCon, I'm pretty sure we're going to be okay. It's only in 2 weeks. We don't know what the world of COVID and Delta and the rest of the stuff has in store. So I'm going to throw this out because we're probably getting near our witching hour, but I'm immunized. Rachel's immunized. I had my blood work done a week and a half ago, and my antibody numbers look really good. I am not saying that you need to get immunized. I don't know your health factors. I don't know your risk factors. I don't know the population density. All this stuff comes into play when it comes, do you get vaccinated or not, right? Or how you handle it. I will say, as a gamer, right? We always worry about the odds as a gamer. It's like, oh, well, your chance to make that save is only 25%. We work out the odds for everything, right? I used to work CompStat. I used to do comparative statistics of crime stats at the turn of the century. My God, 20 years ago.
The turn of the century sounds so long ago.
It sounds so long ago. But again, I would know percentages and odds and all this stuff. Again, you know your risk factor. You know the risk factor for your family, your loved ones, your friends, your community. Take actions that keeps yourself safe, your friends, your family, your loved ones healthy and safe. I don't know what those actions are. Okay? Don't listen to the talking heads on TV, the talking heads on the internet. They're full of shit. Even though they aren't full of shit, they're still full of shit. Talk to the medical professionals that you trust, the ones that already have your health in their hands, the ones that you've already put faith into. Get their advice. I know some friends who have been told not to get the shots because they're at risk for other problems. I have other friends that have been told you should get the shot. I mean, again, I'm not here to give you that advice. I'm just saying take the actions that you need to keep yourself healthy. All right? Be safe, be well. God bless for all those dice. Rach is going to be doing some you doing some yoga training soon?
Starting on the 13th is accessible yoga, which is like making yoga classes inclusive for every different type of person. People that are in bigger bodies, people from different cultural backgrounds, people with different abilities. Yeah.
Can you take somebody with stenosis in their left shoulder who can't reach their arm above their head?
Yeah.
All right, so folks,
there's a modification for you, baby.
So folks,
and then therapeutic yoga, which
yeah,
at the end of the month, which is definitely geared more toward people who have certain types of medical issues and
I've got that.
limited ranges of motion and things like that. So.
And it has nothing to do with my congestive heart failure, but still has to do with 9/11 radiation. But in any case, thanks to Joe the lawyer and a few others who have pledged. It looks like I'm going to be doing yoga in some bright colored yoga pants.
They really pledged?
No, they're gonna give it. We haven't set. We're gonna do a fundraiser. I believe it's gonna be for St. Jude's Hospital, and we're gonna do it in the name of Doug Ray, North Texas RPG. He's at home hospice right now, seriously ill from cancer. His time is likely limited, but Doug has been such a person to give back to this community. So we are trying to figure out a way to give back in his name. And I think that's a beautiful way to do it. And come on, look at me. And fun. And I will wear a bright colored, probably not coordinated tank top to go along with the yoga pants. And it'll be fun. It'll be entertaining. And you might learn something. If nothing else, you'll learn that Tenkar has no self-respect when it comes to raising money for a good cause. Okay, I'm willing to let it all hang out. That doesn't sound right. Probably not let it all hang out, but you know.
Hopefully you don't split the band.
Oh my God! No, we can't do this as a live stream. That would really be scary. We're just like, do it as a live stream. Do it as a live stream. If we get 11 more subscribers, we can do super chats and raise more money.
There.
What?
Please consider subscribing to our channel.
Subscribe and save.
If you like our vibe, please subscribe.
Some things are just not meant to be seen, but guess what, Clover? Once they're seen, they cannot be unseen.
That's true.
And I will guarantee you there will be screenshots of me in my yoga gear. I know Joe wants to raise additional money by having me wear like furry like cuffs. I should get furry cuffs. Kind of like the Olivia.
What do you mean, like those? Yeah, sort of terry elastic
armbands, but
armbands and the headband.
Yeah. But
do they even make that stuff anymore?
I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. You can find everything on Amazon or on eBay used. Ew. But we're gonna make it fun. We're gonna raise money for a good cause. I might have to punt it though until after Game Hall because I don't think I want the ability of having these pictures show up at Game Hall. So I do have a minimum amount of self-respect, and that might be part of it. So this would probably be something for November, but we'll see.
And then the next con is like North Texas or something. So there's 6 months to recuperate your image, or you have at least that.
TotalCon.
Oh yeah, TotalCon.
TotalCon in February. So I
gives a shorter.
Recuperate what image? Come on. I'll just be
rehabilitate your image. I don't know.
If it's successful, we will do this on a yearly basis. If it's truly successful, we could do it on a seasonal basis, and that would show you that I have no self-respect whatsoever. And I don't know if I really want to go down that route just so soon in my life. I have way too many years, hopefully, to live to give up at 54 with no self-respect. But we'll see. If it's for a good cause, maybe, All right, folks.
You can have a sense of humor about yourself.
Definitely.
That's a good thing.
All right, folks. On that note, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. We both do.
Thank you.
We do this because of you. and it makes it enjoyable for all of us. Again, our next Gamers Health will be next Saturday. I may be 3 sheets to the wind. I may be you all may be what keeps me sane that day. We'll see how I handle it. So you've been warned. Rach normally keeps me sane, but it might just be a bit above her pay grade. I don't know. All right, folks. We're out of here.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.